What is up, world changers? Welcome to the Mission Driven Impact YouTube channel, where we help impact driven business leaders raise awareness for their organization by clarifying their message and getting the word out and building a loyal community of fans and supporters, all that fun stuff. So today we're going to be continuing the theme of the last video, which was answering the question, who is my ideal client? Now, if you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend you start there. I'll leave a link somewhere near the top here. And that was really getting in the heads of our ideal clients, our ideal customers, our ideal donors or sponsors even, so that we can approach them with empathy, right? We can really build trust, build that connection, right? Establish our own authority, deliver value, demonstrate care. The list goes on, the things that we can do when we show up with empathy. That's why knowing who your ideal client is so important. But today we're going to be diving a little bit deeper into how to construct what some people call an ideal client profile, an ideal customer profile, an ideal client avatar, an ideal buyer profile. Basically, the way that I think about this is all just a place where we hold the information that we need in order to make decisions about who we're marketing to and how. You probably don't have just a huge abundance of resources to devote just to marketing. So you don't need something that gets really complicated, like a big enterprise solution, but a lot of things that are more beginner friendly tend to be too simple and they don't get results. And so I think that there's a way to strike a balance in the middle. That's why I'm here today. So here you don't just want to dig into what makes a specific person or organization a good fit for you. That's where most people stop with their ICPs. That's what we covered in the last video, who is my ideal client. Again, if you haven't watched it, I strongly recommend you go check that one out first. But obviously that's a very important part of my perfect idea of an ideal client profile or ideal client avatar, whatever you want to call it. Those things are kind of interchangeable. You really want to be clear, not just on who's a good fit, but how your business interacts with that story. Where do you come in, and how do you help them progress and advance along their own path of being the hero of their own story? If you remember from our story brand video, our business is the guide that helps the hero overcome an obstacle and achieve the happy ending, right? So where do you actually come in and be the guide? That is part of what an ideal client profile should tell you. Like I said, ICPs can get complicated fast, or they can be so simple that they don't get you any results. So I'm going to share how you can just create one for an impact-driven business, whether you are a social entrepreneur, whether you're a startup founder, whether you're the ED of a nonprofit. You can create this, grab a pen and a paper, take just a few minutes after this video is done, follow along here, and you will be well on your way to identifying who it is that you need to be marketing and speaking to. Step number one, and I'm kind of cheating here, it's to start by knowing who your ideal customer, ideal client actually is. Again, if you haven't watched that video, it's the very last video that I just put out. Go watch that. Who is my ideal client? It'll walk you through not just the demographics, right? People are always like, it's a female CEO, 35 to 55. Married or possibly single, 2 kids. That is really how a lot of people construct their marketing personas. Basically useless. Basically useless. Trying to be nice here. So you want to, the demographics are very important, but you want to push beyond that, right? What are they like? What are their characteristics and their qualities? The reason that we care about these demographics is because we need to be showing up in a certain way. Our brand needs to feel a certain way to appeal to a certain group of people, right? Our language and our tone and the words we use, all those things need to reflect the language and tone and characteristics of our audience. So start by knowing who that is right away. Step number 2 is to get ultra clear on the problem that you solve, right? So if part of our ideal client profile is explaining where your business and your ideal customer, ideal client intersect, right? Well, you're going to intersect at the problem that they have and the solution you provide, right? That's where you two overlap. So you want to get really clear on what is it that the hero, your customer or client, right? What is it that they want? Who is it that they really want to be? Who is it that they're trying to become? What are they living for? What is the reason that they're doing everything that they're doing? and what's standing in their way. What challenges, what obstacles are they facing right now? Because that is what your business helps overcome. Okay, along with that, you don't just need to be clear on the problem, you need to be clear on the solution. Maybe this is step 2.2 or something, right? So it's not just enough to say, hey, I understand your problem. You also need to be really clear on how you help them overcome it. It's not enough for me to say, you know what, I totally understand how it feels when you need to get eyeballs on your business, but you just have no idea where to start with marketing. Right, okay, who cares? It's also like, well, I also have a solution that's going to help you overcome it, right? So be ultra clear, lift the fog for your customers and for your clients. What's the plan? Be clear about it. And then the very last thing is, what is the happy ending, right? So, you understand the problem, you understand how you're going to get them over their obstacle, over their challenge. You've really clearly laid out what your plan is. What's the happy ending? What's the benefit out of all of it? Like, what does the person on the other side, your customer, your client, what do they really get out of overcoming this problem and working with your business, right? That is what you're selling. That is why you're in business, right? People always say, people, there's a million expressions like this. People don't want a mattress, they want a good night's sleep, right? Features tell, benefits sell, things like that. You want to get to the end of the story. Why is it that your customer client's life will be better off? Who will they be? What will they have? How will they feel about it? That's the happy ending. And you need to be really clear about the A to the B. And just as a side note, you can take this one step further and put it all together in something called a one-liner based off of the story brand framework. I'll leave a link down in the description to a blog post I wrote a while ago that kind of walks you through the steps of how to really identify that problem, how to be really clear about the solution, what the happy ending is, and how to tie it all together in a way that when someone says, tell me about your business, or what do, you can just rattle off one or two sentences and get them to lean in and listen and say, you know what, tell me more. So if you want me to, first of all, I'm going to leave a link to that blog post. If you want me to make a video about it, like this, give this a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments, and I'll get to it. Step number 3 is to map out the buyer's journey. Now, depending on who you ask, this might not belong in an ICP or an ICA. A lot of people stop short of this, but here's my reasoning. If the reason that you're creating an ideal customer profile or an ideal client avatar is to really map out what just the ideal system of your business, of your marketing strategy looks like, from the time you capture a prospect, the time that they first encounter your brand, all the way until they make the final decision you want them to make. Whether that's making a donation if you're a nonprofit, securing a sponsorship, whether that's purchasing a product from your online store, whether that's enrolling in a program or signing up for a service that you offer if you're a service-based business, right? What are the steps that people take from A, B, C, awareness, consideration, decision, however you want to think about it? There's a million ways we can slice and dice it. What are they actually seeing at each step? Right? So if someone, a common answer I get when I ask this question, when people bring me in for consulting or something like that, is like, people just find us through our website. How did they find your website? Did they land on a blog post through Google? Did one of their friends mention your business name or something and so they Googled it? Did they actually type in your actual homepage URL because they heard you speak at a conference or clicked a link or something like that, right? You got to be ultra clear about where your people are coming from, and not just where your people are coming from, but where your ideal person is coming from, right? Ideally, where are people coming from in your business, right? And you can start to really, once you have a vision for not just your ideal client, but your ideal business flow, your operational strategy, you can start to really mold things from there. So all of these things together, right? Knowing who your ideal customer or client is, being ultra clear about the problem that you solve, ultra clear about the solution you provide, and what the happy ending is for them. What the end of that hero story is and how you can help facilitate that. And knowing logistically how, when, and where people are interacting with your business, what the journey looks like from the time they first interact with you to the final sale or whatever decision you want them to make, and each step along the way, what you need to do to move them forward. All 3 of these things together represent, to me, a perfect ideal customer profile or ideal client avatar. And like I said, that's because when all of this is in place, You can visualize how you want the ideal situation of your business to be. You can, like I said, we're storing this information in order for us to make future decisions about who to market to and how, right? Once we have all this in place, we can see all of it in a system and not just these little parts. Like, here's marketing Mary, who's 30 to 55 and has 2 to 5 kids. That didn't tell us anything, right? But if we really dug in and got in the heads of our ideal prospects, if we knew where they were coming from, what they wanted, how we could help, and what we needed to do to move that conversation forward, man, things are going to be so much more effective and so much smoother in your business. Knowing your ideal client and your relationship with them and how to move forward at each step of that relationship is a tremendous amount of effort and just a piece of knowledge that is critical. It is foundational to your entire business, your entire offer or offers, anything that you set out to do, presentations, right? Pitches for sponsorships or donations or investment, right? This is absolutely a critical foundational piece. Now, you got to walk forth armed and equipped with this knowledge, and now you got to put yourself in front of people, right? You got to know where to find your ideal clients. And once you're in a relationship, right, now we know how to move them forward at each step. But where do you kick off that relationship? Where do you go to say, hey, we exist. You could really benefit from this product or service. We think that your life is going to be a whole lot better once you engage with our brand, once you undergo this transformation that we offer, all that sort of stuff. That's the other half of the battle. That's what I'm going to be digging into in the next video. So subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you there.